ค Officer of the Kenya Tourism Board, Dr. Betty Ladier, the CEO, Wildlife Research and Training Institute, Dr. Patrick Omondi, CEOs of other state corporations, my colleagues who I know are here tonight, my colleagues from the Kenya Wildlife Service, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening.
It is good evening. I think we haven't eaten. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That's better. At least I can hear you. Welcome to Nairobi National Park. And I'm always happy to say this every time I talk about Nairobi National Park. It is the world's only wildlife capital. And we are proud of it. Very proud of it. We know the others. We know the others that may be coming. Can you hear me now? Okay. We know the others that are being developed elsewhere, but this is the first. So we're very proud. Very proud. And I think if you look out to your left or my left, you can see a beautiful skyline of the city, and yet you're in a wildlife park. That's amazing, isn't it? Now, the reason I'm talking about that as the Director General of Kenya Wildlife Service is because there's a symbiotic relationship between tourism and wildlife. Would you agree? Yes, it is there. Because if you look at the people that come to visit this country, and the numbers I'm sure will be shared tonight at some point, you'll find the larger majority come to visit because of the wild. Really very happy, and that this park signifies just that, as do other parks in Kenya. As a service, we're excited to be part of the tourism strategy launch as it aligns to our enterprise pillar. Conservation, collaboration, and enterprise. So it aligns with the enterprise pillar. I look forward to strengthening our partnerships to increase visitation to parks. And this is being done, and I'm sure you've noticed if you've been following the social media, is being done through the Zuru Kenya Parks initiative with the Kenya Tourism Board. I invite each and every one of you to Zuru, and Zuru is the Swahili word for visit or tour. So we invite you to Zuru, our parks, both Nairobi National Park and other parks in the country. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, sir. And I must say, Honorable Director General, I loved when you spoke when the microphone went down, because you officially said, words of COVID, can you hear me now? How many times have we said that on a screen? So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to now welcome to the stage someone who is probably getting a little bit nervous with the introduction that's about to come. He is someone, again, I have had the blessing, and all of us have had the blessing of knowing for all the times that he has been leading the tourism industry and been called back and been called back again, because he is someone who has the ability to do what, as we saw in the last 2 years, some people are wired to do. When there is a crisis, when there is a challenge, whatever the case may be, some people are wired to run to the fire, and some are wired to run away, and either is fine. But when crisis hits, what we need is confidence, conviction, and courage. And this gentleman has shown that time after time after time. And he is, for this reason, and I could get fired by my Secretary General, but he knows this, he's my favorite tourism minister in the entire world. And not just because of the fact that he's probably one of the best dressed, but I can't recognize you because I'm missing a bow tie tonight. But it's because he has always stood up, and he's done it with, again, courage and conviction, but with humility. It's never been about him. And so I welcome to the stage someone who is, as I said, a lion of our industry, and who shared recently that he had his 4th little lion cub with his grandchild arriving. He is someone who we can trust, we can call in the middle of the night, whose door is always open, and who will be there when we need someone to put their hand on our back and keep us standing tall. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister.
My God, I have no words, Anita. Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today, members of the industry, members and captains of industries as well, Your Excellencies, ambassadors and high commissioners, colleagues in the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife, colleagues in government. I want to recognize the Chief Administrative Secretary from the Ministry of National Treasury, who is also representing the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury. Thank you very much for coming. Ambassador of the European Union, Head of Delegation, thank you very much for coming. Again, Mark, my friend from USAID, who is a great partner with us. Thank you for coming. Peter Ndegwa, again, Safaricom, you're a giant. We have to recognize you. Without you, we cannot communicate. And definitely, all of you who are present here today. It is a pleasure to be here today. And we are here launching a very important strategy. This strategy has not been easy because time that we have been of late has been difficult. But despite we have gone through challenges, we also have a lot of opportunities to succeed. I think this pandemic gave us the opportunity to have clarity on what we want to do in life, in business, but also in private lives. We value the moment. We just don't value the future. We appreciate the past, but developing the future too. That's why we are here. When the pandemic started, it was a sense of confusion. Started in March, we didn't know what to do. The whole world, nobody imagined, could be shut down. For 3 months, airports were empty. Rooms and hotels were empty. You were scared even to shake hands and to hug. You kept away. We lost jobs. We lost families. That's the reality of it. But also, we were resilient enough to overcome it. When that difficult time happened, we didn't know what to do. And I can tell you, we in government never slept. We were going up and down to address these issues. I see every sector was supported. When you go to industry and trades, they said, yes, there is support for that because it has jobs. When you go to agriculture, I said, yes, this is food. It has jobs as well. When it comes to tourism, it says, no, we can't support you. I can tell you the truth, I went to all our donor communities asking for support, but I didn't get support. But again, I talked to my friend, Kartik here from McKinsey. What are we going to do? And a few friends. Again, Kartik, Dominic from Governors, Tasniba Damji, again, Karim Wisanji, who has been supportive, Dennis Pinto. These are the 5 people who came forward and told me, Waziri, don't worry, we'll stand by you. Tell us what to be done. We consulted, and in their office, with the little budget we have from the Tourism Promotion Fund, we raised money. These 5 people donated 20 million Kenya shillings to do this strategy. So this strategy is not only about the documents and how we move forward, but how do we finance it? And I sincerely want to appreciate these 5 partners that have come forward. But it was not just about them. It was about the industry. We consulted beyond the tourism industry. That's why we have Peter Ndegwa here. He was part of the webinar and the discussion about how do we move forward. Because if we don't have tourists, his business will go down. We had bankers here, and credit cards, Visa, you're here. Corinne, thank you very much for coming and saying Visa card here. If without tourists, you're not going to get your business done. I talked to bankers like James Mwangi. Without tourism, even his business is down. So then we realized tourism is as important as agriculture. Tourism is as important as trade and manufacturing and factories. Tourism is not just about a vacation. The linkages of tourism is about a value chain that has linkages across the spectrum and creates jobs and creates wealth. And that is what tourism is all about. Today we are here. When we look back and we say what was 2019, 2019 was the best year for Kenya's tourism. We surpassed the 2 million mark. We made over $1.6 billion. People were actually forecasting 2020 was going to be the year. Unfortunately, 2020 is where we all shut down. And that shutdown, we had to sit down and reflect. And I can tell you, my friends, there'll be no 2019 anymore. We have just to think forward. We have to invest, we have to innovate, and we will get our income from that innovation and investment. Those are the 3 I's that I believe we can do it right. But the most important thing is that we are resilient. We can change it if we are committed. And that's why I want to appreciate today's launch of the new vision. This new vision is very solid. And I can tell you it was also discussed in cabinet with the input of the Ministry of National Treasury. This vision is going to go beyond Najib Balala, is going to go beyond this government. Even the next government must follow this vision. Well, this vision is going to get Kenya to a different level if we are committed. But we must walk the walk. We must walk the walk. It's important for us to think about what is all about this vision. It has 4 points. One is a brand. I think we have a beautiful brand called Magical Kenya. How do we put value? How do we reposition it and make it better? 2 is about marketing. How do we identify international market and domestic market? But I want to salute Kenyans and the residents of this country. They're the ones who actually made tourism grow faster than expected. Congratulations, Kenyans and residents. I personally believe, 2022 revenues of government from tourism will surpass 2019. I strongly believe that. The numbers, not yet. The numbers is 2024. 2024 will get the numbers right. Number 3 is about experiences. It's about a product development. We cannot, after 35 years, still sing Hakuna Matata. Jambo Jambo, Hakuna Matata. We cannot talk about out of Africa 35 years ago, again in 2022. We have to change the strategy. And we must change the strategy by creating a better experience. People come here not because of rooms or beds. They come here because it's magical. And we must change that experience. And number 4, the principle of this document and the strategy is how do we make our products sustainable? Conservation. We are champion in safari and conservation. How do we make it sustainable? How do we make it green? How do we make sure we are compatible with the digital platforms? And we are all over. And I want to congratulate Magical Kenya, Kenya Tourism Board. They have been active in the last 2 years. They have been everywhere. So Betty, you and your team, congratulations as well. You have done a good job. And number 3, in terms of enablers, we must finance this strategy. And that's why we have the Chief Administrative Secretary here sitting from Treasury. We must finance it. I'll give you an example. If Jordan, with 6 million people population, with only heritage of Petra, they are spending $100 million in marketing. If Jamaica, a tiny little island in the Caribbean, they are spending $24 million in marketing. And Kenya, a giant, a super giant in safari conservation, is spending $5 million. It's not going to work. We must seriously know how to finance it. We are developing strategies and we are consolidating as the way of doing business in the ministry and in the sector. We have 9 parastatals. We are going to shrink to only 5 parastatals. We spend money instead of administration, we'll spend money in programs so we can make a difference in our programs and marketing. So ladies and gentlemen, today is a special day. It's a journey that is for the future. And we all have a role to play over it. Those numbers of 2019, 2 million. In the next 5 years, it must double. That is the vision we want. But it must be sustainable as well. It's not just about numbers. It's about quality. It's about conservation. And we know the dangers of climate change and other over-tourism. But we must be geared to address these issues. I think there's an opportunity, all of us here, to go forward together. And well, you can see in one of our strategies, how do we create new products? And one of the new products is mountaineering and adventure tourism, cultural tourism, sports tourism. And only this week on Monday, I summited Mount Kenya. I took with me Brigadier Waweru, with me, Director General, at the mountain. He couldn't summit, but he was almost there. You know, you can dream to summit. It's not easy to reach it there. But we appreciate. Why did we go to summit? I want first to mention all the people who are here who went to summit. Eva, can you stand up? Eva is from Visa Card, and I want to say thank you very much, Visa Card, for sponsoring us. Thank you very much. And she's the only lady in the group of the sponsors who reached up there. Thank you very much. Is Lopo here? Hey. Sitoyo Lopo, thank you very much. MD of M-Pesa, thank you very much for sponsor, and Safaricom. Peter, thank you very much for that sponsor. And Lopo, he's more fitter than me, but we were there neck to neck. Alistair from Vipingo Ridge, thank you very much, Alistair, and thank you very much for sponsor. You know, Alistair Kavaha, Safari rally driver, or rally driver. So, but he's retired now, but he was 1 hour ahead of us always. But we were catching up with him. Thank you very much. And then Jihia is here. Jihia, thank you. This is the man I met 3 months ago on the plane. He's the one who motivated me and said, Minister, you go up there are no toilets. You go up there, you must make sure this jewel is protected. This is the man who motivated me. And today, and the others who are there with us in the media, who are with us developing content for Magical Kenya. But I can tell you, with this commitment of a small group, we were able to raise 10 million Kenya shillings. And this money, DG has assured me, he has a Marshall Plan in the next 1 week. On the 1st of July, all those photos we have taken, not of us, of the area and how we have a jewel that is hidden, we have not expressed it to the world and shared it to the world. We are going to have a photo exhibition on the 1st of July, and we want Peter Ndegwa to be our chief guest on that exhibition. So we are going to invite you. We welcome you all. We want you to see what we have. This is only one product. We've always had it, but we have never shared it. So it is time for us to share much more than what we have of safari and the beach. So ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure, definitely, and I want to recognize everybody who has been supportive. But finally, I want to say the international community and the donor community, both the American Embassy and particularly European Union and the British Embassy, these are the key partners we have, and the German Embassy. These are the key partners we have. Again, other USA, GIZ, all the others who have been supporting conservation and tourism as well. Again, the UN system, the UN structure that has been supporting us on the illegal wildlife trade. All of them, I want to thank them very much. But the most I want to thank is the tourism industry itself. Mohammed Hersi, you are here. Stand up, please. Mike Masharia. I think I need the tourism industry, all of you, to stand up, kidogo. I want to see you guys. The tourism industry, who have worked all our lives together in the last 30 years. Again, Mudama Perak, thank you very much. I want you to stand, guys. Peter Ndegwa. Peter Ngori. Peter Ngori is here. Yeah, thank you. So basically, the tourism industry, I want to thank you very much. I've known you, I've known Peter and Mohammed and others and Mike Masharia for the last almost 25 years. So this is not just about a job to do. This is about commitment, passion, and friendship we have developed. It doesn't matter how difficult we have gone through, what challenges we have gone through, but we have always been together to put Kenya first so that we can be able to resolve the problem this country is facing. With those remarks, I want to say thank you very much once again, everybody. And it is my singular honor to officially launch the new Tourism Vision 2030.
Of our community, we are committed, we are united. But before we jump into the future, let us pause for a moment to remember our recent past. None of us ever imagined what new rules and regulations took over as the new normal.
Our industry, our core purpose, only we realize and we need to do reconnect over 50 private sector. Our industry was at the damage. We saw it, but we that need to happen. How we find how our product to our one and the first our betting our value people and will explore community or sustainability, anti-hunting we have that advantage. To attract more new markets, but the importance of our domestic experiences and for enabling initiatives. Vice through our through
to leverage the law, ecotourism with ban plastics and also regulating the. We'll also have a farm foundation around sustainable and wildlife conservation. So that encapsulates the policy platform. We also have another huge aspect that will anchor this strategy, which is the institution of those. We want to reform abilities to serve the sector. Lastly is to increase market tourism.
Today, tourism 2030. This is a solid framework for sustainability. It's important we came time of the pandemic. The two to reflect and to rethink what's going to be the future. 20 is our past. 20 so industry to make sure journey. The Kenyan brand. 2, 3 is product development. 4 and the 1 ability. 2 and 3 it is
Lovely. And it's such a perfect way of spotlighting all of the work that has been done by all of you in a way that has been truly exemplary around the world. Now, as we go into the next session of the program, we wanted to get beyond simply the strategy in terms of what you need to know, but we wanted to actually start exploring how do we have confidence in delivery? How do we ensure that all of the good thinking can indeed be delivered on? Because very importantly, we've heard the word magical being associated with Kenya for how many years now? We talk about the magic. We talk about those too busy growing as an industry. We were growing 4 or 5 ability. We were going to deal with overcrowding. We were going to deal with human resources when we had time. And then Mother Nature said, okay, I'm going to give you time. I'm going to give you 2 years to think about it. And in doing so, it's not just the value of travel that changed, the values of travel have changed. And as a result, the word magic means something different now. People have been locked up and they've been forced to stay at home psychologically, even if not physically. We've all missed the magic because we are not just tourism practitioners. We are them. We are the travelers. When was the last time you sat in the room with 200 colleagues that you know and love? How long has it been since, as the Honorable Minister said, we were able to hug people without worry and without having to do fist pumps? So this strategy has reached a very important time, not just for Kenya, but for the world. And for this reason, we wanted to have a little bit of a panel discussion with 4 of the leaders intricately involved in this actual session itself. So I'm going to ask my team to please bring up our great thrones so we can have our speakers on board. And I'm going to ask to join me on stage. 2 of them are sponsors. 2 of them are strong leaders that we have in the industry. The 4 of them are going to enter into conversation with myself before we go into dinner. Please, may I therefore ask Ms. Corinne Mabikakecha, the Vice President and General Manager of Visa for East Africa. Madam, please join us, and thank you for your support on this strategy. May I please also ask the dear CEO of M-Pesa Africa, Sitoyo, where are you, sir? Please join us on stage. And please may I ask Dr. Paul Matuki, the Executive Director of Nature Kenya, to please join me on stage. Greens, it's so lovely seeing people live again. And Honourable Minister, please on stage. Stunning. So, as we start, at least we're not hearing any glass shatter. That's a good sign. So, as we start, before we get into the strategy itself, I want everyone in the room to get a sense of not just your minds, but your hearts. We've had 2 years to think about our industry. All of you are leaders who have championed our being able to get here today. For all of the trauma and all of the loss that we've experienced, what have we gained? What has Mother Nature given us in terms of making us stronger as an industry that we never, ever would have had before had it not been for the last 2 years we've endured together? Corinne, please.
Thank you. I will say, just me hit us in at the end. I moving into a new organization, Visa, with zero background in the payment industry at all. So it was a big challenge in terms of career. And then 3 months down the line, we were hit by COVID. In April, we closed all the borders. The good thing about it, I had spent 5 years in Kenya, and during the pandemic, I was a domestic tourist. And I've been able to travel everywhere. I probably did more than 6,000 kilometers in Kenya. From the beach, the coast, the Lake Victoria, the mountains. And what you discover is that culture, that humanity, you know, where people are at the center, extremely important. You know, we talked earlier about we didn't even know, we couldn't hug each other. We were afraid. We wanted to protect our families, right? But it became a common goal to protect, you know, And I think probably that will never, we sometimes forget fast, but I think what COVID brought to us is the sense of no matter what development is bringing, you know, the roots remain the same and the roots have to be preserved. And it's by preserving those roots, recognizing them, that we will make, you know, the best move forward. And this is probably what the pandemic brought, you know, me the most. And at that time, as a leading industry, we make a drastic decision. Most of the organization during the pandemic, we were optimizing the cost. We made a drastic decision to invest in an innovation studio in Nairobi for sub-Saharan Africa. I will say even for Africa. But it's not only the investment in an innovation studio, because lots of organizations, they do that. But what is unique about it is that it has been built, it is human-centric, and has been built around an African, you know, persona. What is our current, what are local realities, what are the social challenges we want to build? Because at the end of the day, it's about us, and the solution for our future will come from inside. Thank you.
And you've said something so important, and the Honourable Minister spoke about it in his address as well. Domestic and regional tourism were always the poor cousins of the industry. It was always the international tourists, the hard currency. For the first time, we value our own countries as a place to explore and appreciate, which, as you say, Honourable Minister, the metric of arrivals is incorrect. The revenues now, the baseline is going to lift because we have the domestic tourism, which will then be built upon at an international level. Mother Nature knew what she was doing. There's no question about it. Honourable Minister, from your perspective, because you've always been one, again, to run to the fire and help people through, why are we stronger for this crisis?
Well, I discovered three things during the pandemic. One is the brain exploded. You managed to think out of the box. You managed to find a survival tactic. That is one powerful thing that, and we were just climbing Mount Kenya and we were talking with Sitoyo and the DG, and we said, wow, you can push your body so hard and it can still accommodate all those challenges. I can tell you, myself and Sitoyo and Alistair dived in the coldest lakes of the world, -2. So we jumped into those 3 lakes, very dangerous, I don't advise you, without your parents. So we dived into that, but you can see how the body can take it. And that is one thing what we have. And then suddenly, the third thing is the moment. You live the moment. What is more important in your life as a person? You individually. You individually, you'll realize it's your family. You, in terms of trying to appreciate, is your nature and the surrounding and the environment next to you. And that's why the domestic market exploded that they want to travel. Yeah, it's far. I mean, to travel, even if it's nearer or far, they will go as far as they feel safe when they travel. And that's why we're optimistic in the next 5 years. People have saved money. People have valued what is life and the moment, and people want to travel. So we have appreciated the information I'm getting. People are now spending more value, they spend longer time, and they can't compromise on their lives. That is what Mother Nature has taught us. Thank you.
Indeed, thank you very much. And actually, based on what you're saying around how people are traveling, I just want to compliment Visa, because your research in terms of traveler spend is outstanding, because it's not just about what we think travelers are going to do. You're able to follow exactly who is spending exactly how much, doing exactly what, at what time. So that intelligence is, and that's why having Visa on as a partner is so invaluable, because that's real commercial intelligence that's reflecting human motivations to travel. Sitoyo, from your perspective, please, why are we a better, stronger industry because of Mother Nature's temper tantrum?
I think first, when we look at ourselves as an industry, and especially the telco industry, going digital was the first thing that we went. We were not able to meet like this. Everything was on Zoom or Microsoft Teams and so on. And Peter is here, and he joined as the COVID CEO because he came at the time in April when COVID had started, and you could just imagine him trying to lead an organization without seeing the people, and he's managed to do that brilliantly. And it's the way in which we embrace technology, the way in which we say we have to come as a community, as Kenyans. We lower transaction fees. We enabled children to get access to education without free. We've worked tirelessly to ensure that when I remember this park, there was traffic jam inside this park because of domestic tourism, and it was more of a challenge of how to manage these guys getting out of the cars and looking at lions and feeling very macho, the young people, and everywhere we went, the domestic tourism was amazing. And I think for me personally, and I think Alistair who's here, we got to enjoy hotels that ordinarily would not have been available for local tourists. Things that were $3,000 a night or $500 a night in Masai Mara, and that meant as a local tourist you could access that, and I think that was great. But I think we've gotten to appreciate the outdoors as domestic tourists, and Najib mentioned about being in Mount Kenya, but I think whenever we got network, we were like kids, just trying to send these beautiful pictures out there. And to see that some of the initiatives that we did, I think 2 years ago, we sat with the minister in his office and our network team to map out every single gate of KWS to help them go cashless. It really paid off during this time, and it's amazing to see how the digital world, and I think there's something that Peter and Najib are doing in enabling in Amboseli a 5G site, which means anyone now can watch Amboseli. And we were doing a strategy session, and our board could see elephants and buffaloes while we were in Nairobi live from Amboseli. And that's the power of digital, and I think we can provide that available for tourists who don't even have to come to Kenya, but can pay a subscription service through the services that Visa and M-Pesa are doing to be able to see wildlife, and and therefore have a bigger audience. We may have 2 million, maybe we can have 10 million online watching our parks digitally, and I think that's an amazing opportunity that we do have.
Indeed. And to your point, that's an opportunity that as the world opens up and travels, we needn't leave behind that digital lifestyle. You've also said something really important about the fact that it's not just domestic travelers appreciating the domestic market. The domestic industry is appreciating domestic travelers. That's also a fundamental shift that's taken place. Paul, from your perspective, please, why are we a better industry?
I will bring out perspective slightly different from the money angle, from the technology angle, but interlinked. And I will look at the whole period, the way a builder looks at a rental house, where you build a house in a place where you expect tenants to come and occupy, and they do. Then suddenly something happens and the house is empty without tenants, but the house remains and it stands, and the caretakers continue to steward, take care of it. The local communities, the Maasais in Amboseli, Masai Mara system, with Kenya Wildlife Service stopping wildlife poisoning at a time when they were earning hardly anything from tourism ventures, is something to recognize and remember these champions of change on the ground. The communities of Mount Kenya during that period, with Nature Kenya alone, planted over 3 million trees. With corporates, despite even breweries being hit and the Coca-Cola, they were able to support. The communities at the coast, even without exporting butterflies in Arabuko Sokoka forest, they still maintained surveillance to ensure that the forest stood. We have the foundational right. COVID has not removed our baseline to take off, to champion change. We are ready to take off because we still have our wildlife, we still have our nature, we still have our forests, we still have the foundation for which we can build and move forward. And to me, that's something I'll always remember. With the banking system in Kenya, I must say, in Nature Kenya found ourselves stuck in Nairobi, but transferring money to Kakamega, to Busia, to Garissa, to every place in the country, communities are champions. They were able to grow skills with technology, webinars, and they were able to take over the things that grantees do in Nairobi, shuttling all over trying to take care of nature. They did it. I think that's something the world has learned, that we can be hit, but we cannot just crash.
Absolutely, and I think Honourable Minister wants to say something on top of that.
I want just to follow what Paul had just said. What Mother Nature did, we had 200 new babies of elephants in Amboseli. That's what Mother Nature did. What Mother Nature did as well, we had single poaching, 0 rhinos in Kenya. That is what Mother Nature did. We managed finally to tame poaching in this country. Other challenges came up, but at least the disturbing issues, all this part of our lives, we managed to address them, and they naturally got addressed. And that is what I just wanted to follow with Paul. What did Mother Nature do? Thank you very much.
Thank you. And it leads perfectly, Honourable Minister, to my next question. I'm going to direct at Paul, because as has been shared, this strategy is unique for a number of firsts. It's the first time, Honourable Minister, you were saying the industry reached out to you and said, we need to do this and we need to do it now. It's the first time the strategy was co-created with industry. It's the first time the strategy was co-funded with industry. And importantly, it's the first time that sustainability has been truly understood. Before COVID, sustainability was about green and blue. It was about the environment. Now we saw with the world shutting down, sustainability is economic sustainability, social sustainability, cultural sustainability, environmental sustainability, and I argue it's spiritual sustainability as well. Because we cannot have tourism for tourism's sake. It will cost us the spirit of a place. Paul, to your point, I'd like you to speak a little bit, please, about the fact that this strategy has built within it sustainability standards that are part of the DNA of developing the industry forward. Why is this so important on making sure that we do it right this time?
Thank you. We really have no choice. Humanity has no choice. The planet and its ability to support humans is crashing. We've been told that by world experts who did produce a report recently that the planet is crashing. But they do say it's not late. We still have an opportunity to reverse that trend. And tourism has a chance to focus on culture. Our peoples always focused on nature and survived on nature. And there's no way they can be hostile. Landscapes, beyond even what we have known to be critical for tourism, have something to offer. Birds are unique. That's a niche which may need to be exploited, and it's a special niche. Looking at all the wild places, they need to be kept wild. And nature needs to be kept natural. Place where we have national parks. Every country has national parks, but our parks are special. 67 of the globally important areas for biodiversity, important bird areas, key biodiverse areas, including our protected areas network, are globally important, standard. So we are special in that what we hold is something that we hold on behalf of the world. But we are also not just a Kenyan people. The Great Rift Valley Lakes, the flyway, the birds from Europe, from Asia, coming here, the people here, we are a global country. And there's a lot in terms of sustainability that we hold on behalf of humanity. All those places need safeguarding, stewardship, to keep the wildlife going, to keep the birds flying, to keep the nature in its form. And that requires tourism that's sustainable. And the Kenyan tourism is already in itself on a sustainable foundation, because it's a question of seeing, it's a question of feeling. A lot of it that we generate is about just visiting and going, including where we are now, this being tourism. Thank you.
Stunning. Thank you very much. And I'm going to direct my question now to the Honourable Minister, because, Paul, you've mentioned it a couple of times. Honourable Minister, that the strategy was about making choices, because you couldn't do everything. Equally, you knew that the industry couldn't be lazy and go back to the strategy of 2019 and focus on what people know you for, the migration, for the mountain, for the incredible, the Maasai community here, all of those traditional selling points. You came up with 5 niches. You've lived those 5 niches as well. You've done Mount Kenya. You've done the marathon run, part of it, admittedly. You've done part of the marathon run. I'm pretty sure you're a surfer. You have an appreciation for birds, and you know that you have the most remarkable, unique game that can be found in Kenya. But 2 of those 5 niches are quite interesting choices that you've made, birding and surfing. Where did those come from, and why are those now priorities?
Well, our core product in Kenya is want to do things themselves, not to be just driving in a car. So those are the differences we came in, and we consulted the industry. What will be interesting? Bird watching is a key one. How do we bring it on board? Again, adventure tourism, which is climbing mountains, and again, kite surfing. What do you do when you go on the beach beyond just swimming and sun tanning and maybe going and visiting historical sites? What else do you do on the beach? That's why kite surfing came in. Yeah. And then we have a jewel here in Kenya. We are the world #1 marathoners in the world. So why don't we take advantage? Our ambassador, Eliud Kipchoge, our tourism ambassador here, again, people will fly directly to Eldoret, and they don't know where Eldoret is. Just to have an opportunity at 6 o'clock during the marathon or the trials, they might run with Eliud Kipchoge. And that is a dream. And then you cannot take away, again, the wildlife migration in Masai Mara. That is magical. So all these 5 issues is either we need to do them better, or we need to actually promote them and people to know about it. Those are the things why we brought them together. And that's why we are here today.
Can you share a little bit of your insights, sir, around when people talk about the birding market?
And we have seen the vultures in Hell's Gate, and we have done everything possible to protect it. Yeah. We have seen the vultures in Kajiado at the same time. So there is a market, there is a volume, and I can tell you, you can ignore these small things, but this is what we are talking about, high end. This is what people will spend money, serious money, to come and take advantage of it. It's not just about the normal vacation people will take. This will be with a difference. And that's why we brought it as a niche market.
And that's an important point, because it's higher yield.
Yes.
They will wait and wait and wait as long as they need to see that rare image of that bird that they've sought. So it's about, as you said, it's the right metric. It's not the arrivals. It's the revenue and the value of each tourist that comes through. To that point, I want to talk now as we wrap up this session, looking at it from the point of view of why is it different this time? If we look at this strategy, the partnerships behind it, the passion behind it, why should people in this room, why should the industry have confidence that we're going to deliver this time? This is not another event. It's different this time. Corinne, please.
I think you talked about data earlier, right? And the quality of the partnerships. Visa is the global payment leader. We operate in more than 200 countries. We have more than 55 million merchant locations, and we have 3.5 billion cards out there. Those are great numbers. When you come down to Kenya, we talk about payment, sustainability, how it's extremely important to collect. He talks about how are we going to finance it, right? Collection, I think, is the first main pillar. But when you land in Kenya, a country like Kenya, you will realize that the digital transactions, the digital payment transactions are only 15% of the total transaction in the country, 15, which means 85% of transactions are still cash. We're talking here about the country who completely disrupted the payment ecosystem with mobile payment. I mean, M-Pesa Sitoyo is here. And you say, okay, there is something out of the 15% digital, Safaricom alone, M-Pesa has 13%, which means all the other forms of digital payment only have 2%. And this is where innovations is at the heart of it, right? Because you bring collaboration, you bring different type of partner. Historically, we used to deal with the banks. They're still strong partner, but we are opening up. We have strategic partnerships with telco, MNOs, M-Pesa, Safaricom. We're looking at the payment facilitators, and we challenge the entire local ecosystem. 83% of people are financially included in Kenya. 85% of transactions are cashed. There is something that doesn't add up here. How can we come as an industry, and how can we ensure that our growth is inclusive and is also sustainable? Only one answer. Everything has to sit on the mobile phone, mobile device. And at Visa, we just say, our main purpose is uplift everyone everywhere by being the best way to pay and the best way to be paid as well. Indeed. So it's a challenge that we've invested in a strong, powerful innovation studio, human-centric base. We are talking to the industry. We have partnered with the strong players in the industry. Let us solve for it. And the last point is about the value chain. You will never achieve it if you don't look at the entire end-to-end value chain. When you look at the consumer and the traveler experience today, they start planning their trip 2 months in advance, 3 months in advance. Where do they do that? On a mobile phone. They do that online. Are we present? The CS talked earlier about marketing. It's not just about marketing for the sake of marketing. How do we ensure that we reach those people? The source of effects for the country in terms of the economy is massive, right? How do we reach those people? And this is where data insights come, because with the network that we have, we know them, we know the corridors, we know where they travel, we know what are the destinations, we can profile them, right? And you have that type of partnership, you can have a strategy that target exactly what is the persona and the type of corporate traveler, tourist that you want in the country. And then from the time one person think about going somewhere, Magical Kenya is there. The person book online, the person travel, but you also, and it's extremely critical, because where we have a break of the value chain is where you reach locally, and then you do not have a digital payment acceptance. This is why a partnership like M-Pesa, looking at the success in Kenya, we open the world to them. We give them access to the global network. And honestly, the best is to come.
And it's interesting you say that, because we've seen in the last 2 years, we used to talk about our industry being interconnected and integrated. We're interdependent. And as you say, it's getting through the partners that are linked through the entire traveler experience, before, during, and after.
particularly after. After
Indeed.
is the most important. Can we get the data? Can I know exactly how much I spend and where I spend? This is a massive difference today in the destination you
Indeed.
select.
And it's smart decision making.
Exactly.
Satoyo, I have a 60-second challenge for you. Commitment to delivery. Why is it going to be different this time?
I think because of one thing that the CS has mentioned is partnerships. I think just looking around the room, the number of people who are here, the different, partners who are here. I saw Patrick here. He helps me with M-Pesa strategy, but he's actually helping the tourist industry. And it's good to see the diversity of partners on the table. I think technology will play a big part in the digital part of it. And for us, when you look at the statistics that were there in the video, 9% of Kenyans are employed in this industry. The amount of money it generates for the GDP directly is about 4%. And I think it's the number one FX earner. We have to, succeed this time. And for me, it's a wonderful, we spent lots of time talking in the mountain as a team. There's no digital that time, there's no network in certain places. But I think the way we spoke about the beauty of what we saw, 31 lakes in Mount Kenya. There's no reason why Mount Kenya should not be the number one destination for hiking and climbing, and instead of Kilimanjaro. The beauty around that area is amazing. And the picture that was here at the beginning is of Lake Michelson. And just look at how beautiful it is. And I can bet majority of people even who've climbed Mount Kenya have not been to that lake. So I think there's just a lot about the partnerships, leveraging on the marketing capabilities that everyone around the room has. And everyone should, use that hashtag that the DG mentioned, Zuru Mount Kenya, Zuru Masai Mara, Zuru, all the parks and all the beautiful places. And I think collectively we can make a big, big difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul, 60 seconds. Why is it different this time? Why are we going to deliver?
We are going to deliver because in the USA alone, there are 16 million birders who are traveling. We can tap from that. In United Kingdom alone, there are 3 million birders, and the 3 million other birders are forever shuttling all over the world. A few of them are currently coming in Kenya. There is high potential. We have 1,100 bird species, and globally, we are leading in the ability to see birds in 24 hours. You can see more than 3/4 of those in one trip, 800 species. That is special. Of those, 73 of these species, we don't want to be threatened, but they are in the IUCN red list, and they are specials for birders, and they are going all over the world looking at them. 10 of them they can only see here in Kenya. And a few of them have only 150 pairs remaining. They can only see them in the Taita, like the Taita Palace and the Taita Thrush. We're looking at the Rift Valley lakes, flamingos, millions of birds in one place is magical. That can be exploited. And then we have all these special places, we call them important bird areas, Kimba and diverse areas, Angilobo. We can package them. There are bird guides all over the country, local communities, and the birding, I can tell you, is going to deliver money to the communities, benefits to the communities, and the people will be left enjoying and supporting nature. There is no reason why we should not expand this market and tap from this opportunity.
Indeed. Thank you very much. And Honourable Minister, as I give you the last word, 100 days, sir. You have 100 days. And you're going to hand over the torch of this strategy as part of your legacy. Why are you so confident?
Well, the 100 days remaining in my life in tourism in this government, I can tell you at least we have done the foundation right. And this time is across sectoral partnerships. I think the key word has been mentioned here by Sitoyo and by Corinne is about partnerships. Before, you can see this crowd today, we are talking about the tourism industry. there are probably a third of them here. Majority is across sections, because we have known we are all interconnected, we are all interdependent, but we never valued it before. This time is we cannot do without each other. That's why we are here to support each other. And that is the foundation I and my team have put forward and said, this is beyond us, it's for the future. And if we do it well, as Paul had just said here, if there are 16 million badders in the US, let's just get 10% of that to Kenya. That will surpass the number of British tourists coming into the country. If we get just 10% of the badders from the US, imagine the 3 million badders in the UK. If we get 10% of that, yeah, that again is huge. How do we get those badders from the UK and the rest of the world? So it is something different. That's why we have to forget about 2019. It's a different world coming. Things have changed. The values and the tourists have changed of the next generation. And that's why we are focusing on this strategy. Thank you very much.
One thing that I'm loving is that you're almost, what I'm hearing you say is, we're going to deliver because we're keeping it simple. Focus where the opportunity is, put the investment there, bring it to life digitally, and these will be the 100 proudest days of your entire tourism career. So, ladies and gentlemen, please thank my panel. So we've talked about the strategy, you've seen a little bit about the strategy. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, as we clear the stage, the time has come to bring the strategy to life and to unveil it officially. And to do this, we have a little surprise for you. Please.
Africa in the Kenya is of when you when home home karibuni nyumbani, enjoy this pure karibu, and we are going against gravity. Karibu to the land of lions, and seeing them as a family is our pride. Then we are the go with the flow. Neither because we can recite to the Karibu, where people feel the sound of hands of the master pilots. One to quote Mr. Jeff Koinange, one few. Now I want to quote myself. How? Karibu sana.
to join us. It's my great the microphone to our dear PS, who we thank for joining us.
First of all, let me say I'm extremely excited to be here with each and every one of you. We've just been told this is the nicest spot to be tonight at the KWS Impala Point, launching the tourism strategy for 2022 to 2025. I want to take a quick minute to just thank and recognize all of you here tonight. I want to first and foremost thank the teams that have put this together. KTB and your team, let's give them a huge round of applause. KTB, led by Betty. Allow me to thank our star conservationists, DG, retired Brigadier Waweru of KWS and his team. A huge round of applause for KWS. Allow me to thank all our teams from the ministry and KWS and all our agencies who are represented here by various CEOs. CEOs, please stand and wave. CEOs of our agencies. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much. I also want to take this chance, very special chance, to thank our partners, USAID, the EU ambassador, Safaricom, led by its CEO. Mr. Ndegwa, please stand and wave to the crowd. Huge round of applause. Asante sana. Allow me to thank, last but not least, McKinsey, who helped put this together. The McKinsey team is here, I believe, Asante sana. But let's reserve the loudest applause to the champion of tourism and wildlife conservation in the ministry, who just last week, I think in 7 days, has climbed 2 mountains. He was in Longonot the weekend before. He climbed Mount Kenya. He came back just yesterday, and believe you me, he was in parliament with me yesterday, even after coming back from Mount Kenya. He's a champion. He's my personal inspiration. And I do hope, there was a question that was asked by Anita. In 90 days, not even 100, it's 90 days, I think, we're still here. What's gonna happen? Let me just say he has left, or he will leave, a very firm foundation for tourism to grow from height to height in this country. Please, let's reserve the biggest applause and appreciation for our minister, the Honorable Najib Balala, CS. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and please enjoy yourselves. Asanteni sana.
Excellent. One of the lovely things about this community is that the genuine appreciation that exists for each and every person that's in this room and partners. With that said, we also want to say a very special thank you to the NSSF for all of the partnership and support that's been given behind this strategy and supporting the industry per se, and also, of course, to our dear friends at KQ, at Kenya Airways, and Radisson. Thank you enormously for all of the support that you've provided. So ladies and gentlemen, we've finally come to that part of the evening when we can actually kick back and celebrate. We're going to start with dinner, and dinner is a fun one because it's experiential. We're going to take you from the streets of Kenya to the bush, to the farms, and you'll see around us we have a beautiful dinner set up where you can actually go and help yourself to experience all that we have to share from a culinary perspective, the richness of experience and the magic that exists in this beautiful, beautiful country, and all of the kitchens that are feeding the people that come to our country from across the country and across the world. So dinner is about to be served. I will be calling out the table numbers, starting with the reserve tables themselves, and I'm just waiting for the list. But for the moment, do enjoy dinner. We'll be having some entertainment following. There absolutely would be dancing, otherwise it would not be a Kenyan event. So we will be enjoying that later, but I'm going to say excellent. Thank you very much. Please can I ask tables 41, 45, and 44 to start the dinner service? We'd be very grateful. I'll continue to call the numbers, but everyone do enjoy, and we'll see you a little bit back here on stage. Yes. For waiting to have dinner, please do wander around and very much enjoy at the observation point. There's a traveling telescope in the observation balcony itself. Please do enjoy it. It's a beautiful opportunity to experience the astrological side of all that we have here in the National Park and Kenya per se. So we started with 41, 45, 44, tables 42 and 43. Please do make yourself available to have dinner and enjoy very much.
Yeah? No, yeah, no.
One to Rastafari.
Mic check.
One. Check mic. One, two. One. Check. Yes.
pick up. Come. You might go, Papa. You might go, Papa.
Gala ni lemo, igala gala ya Yesu luanda birona. In igala gala ya Yesu luanda birona. Don't you